because I did not have one and I thought it was time to make one. I had the feeling that I needed to do this. So, what I did was I gathered up some stuff, things relevant to what I want it to represent for my whole family, not just me. And, you know, set my space and went to town. And a lot of it is just pulling from inside myself and what I feel. Like I said, I do things very intuitively. And after I did all that, I kind of just left everything on the altar because I felt like I wanted to write it down in my book of shadows, which is what I'm doing. And it'll have to be cleaned up because it's just a jumbled mess. But, anywho, I wanted to talk to you today about mine. And I will say that there is an animal part in here. So if you don't like that, I mean, it's just one, but some people are just dead set against that. No pun intended. Even though that was kind of funny. But anywho, it does have an animal in it, or a part of an animal. That animal is still alive, so have no fear. It's a natural process for said animal. But I wanted to go over a couple things. Now, a lot of people put glass or pins, stuff of that nature. Well, I didn't have any glass, and I didn't feel like breaking anything, and nothing's broke that I could use. But we did hang something today in the living room, and there were metal shards left over. So I did snatch those up, did some work on those, and they are in here as my pins. And they're pretty darn sharp, so good luck getting past that. Also, I went ahead and ran down just a list of things, and we'll, go over that. So, as you can see, me and my husband went to a metaphysical shop, and because this involves the whole family, and my son didn't want to go, but he likes this color too, I did let my husband choose the ball and the color, because I felt like if I'm doing this to protect us all, I want you to have a part in it. And he was great. So he picked out this color. He loves this color. So that will be our family ball. And it's going to hang above. He's already put a thing above the front door. So this will hang by a piece of leather that I had from another project. But moving on. So the animal part, I'm going to do that last because a lot of people don't like that. So I'm just going to save that little tidbit for last. Because in all honesty, everybody does these different. So to you, you might not need the animal part. For me, I wanted to use it because I pull strength from that. So, but I'll leave it last. Alright, I did put like 8 herbs in here, and I will go over that now. I used, and a lot of these are kind of redundant, but it's what I wanted to do. I used echinacea, and I think I had the flower. The first batch I had was the root. I like the flower better. It wasn't the root. It's the more green part. So echinacea, I used feverfew, mugwort, chamomile, the whole flowers, peppermint leaf, valerian root, passion flower, and lavender. Those are what I wanted to put in here. And, most of us know the properties that these do, and, the magical properties, the healing properties, all that kind of stuff. And if you have a question about any of them, or want to know why I use certain ones, or doubled up on a couple different things magically, that's fine. You can ask me in the box below, and I'll answer. Now, the stones and crystals, I used several of those. I used pyrite for prosperity, amethyst protection, and psychic awareness. I used orange citrine, snowflake obsidian, rose quartz, and howlite. Now, people use various stones for various reasons, and everybody's vary. Or, well, let me say this. Some people's vary. So, take that how you will. I also put in a larger piece of amethyst that I was just gifted from my dear friend. She had gone gymming years and years and years ago, and she went for the experience, but rocks are just not really her thing. So, and she doesn't know a whole lot about them. Her husband does, and he went over some of the stuff with her, but she decided that I could benefit from them more because I love them. So she brought them over, and it was a beautiful bag, and I've got them cleaned up, and they're in the kitchen, but I did put a piece of that. There was a beautiful piece of amethyst in there, and there's another piece in there that I'll show you. This was the darker, brighter, deep purple, kind of like something like this at the tip. Not that pinky color, but whatever. Anyway, it's in here, so it won't be with the other stones, but, and I used some of the pyrite from that batch too, because, I mean, it was just a whole bunch of different stuff, and it was gorgeous, and I'll show you that in a minute, or maybe in another video. It depends. We'll see. So anyway, I did put a lot. So there's two pieces of amethyst. There's the amethyst chips, and there's a bigger hunk that would fit in the little hole, because it's, I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of a small opening. I used black salt and sea salt, protection and boundaries. There's twine, money oil, and eggshells, and I also put dragon's blood in here. Now, I didn't have any dragon's blood resin, but I did have some incense, so that is also in here as well. And say what you want, that's what I had. That is all of the actual, like, stuff in there. I will say that the last thing, the animal part, and this is where you might want to, like, fast forward for a few seconds, is sand boa skin. And I work at a pet store, so I have a dear friend that handles the snakes and feeds them and cares for them. And when they shed, I get the skin instead of them just throwing. It's just doesn't make it anyway. He gives me the skin, and I'm super appreciative for that. That is awesome to me, and I just think that is cool that he would do that for me, because he is not a practitioner, but he supports me. He's very open-minded. He's a very dear friend. But that is like the main ingredients. Now the twine, obviously, you know, I put the twine in there to bind up anybody that tries to hurt me or my family. There's another thing in there that's not on this list. My mom used to do cross stitch, and my son was into making bracelets for a while. So that thread, I had a piece of thread from a dream catcher I made, and what I did was I tied a knot for every person in my family, and I did my thing with it. Some people consecrate, some people pray. I'm just gonna say I did my thing with it. And I also put it in here as well, so it individualizes everybody in here. There's also a written petition. Now, I know a lot of people burn them. Some people, you know, will put them in gree bags and stuff like that. Mine is in here. And there'll be another petition in a couple days that I'll burn to kind of seal the deal on this. Speaking of sealing, I decided, for some reason, and I don't know if anybody else has done this, I haven't seen it, but this is what I felt like I needed to do, is as my candles were burning, and I tend to use red in a lot of, like, spellcraft, not just simply spells, that, you know, you correspond your candles with whatever you're doing. But I tend to use red with crafts, and this being a craft is what I did. And instead of sealing with blood, because I didn't feel like that was necessary, I did seal it with the red wax to signify blood. Because there are some days I just don't feel like cutting myself. It hurts. But that's what I did. I sealed it with wax. That way, if anything, you know, obviously nobody's going to come into my house and pop the cork. But it does have a magical property of being sealed. I have sealed this. I've taken the time to seal this. So, that being said, this is my witch's ball. And it will hang above my front door and do its job. It's a little mojo thing. So, I don't know if any of you out there have also made this type. I know a lot of people use the clear, what are they called? Ornament balls, I think. And they're very pretty because you can see the stuff inside more. And then some people, you know, people that use a lot of blood in their work would, you know, obviously some people, they might not be out in the open. And then there are some people that are very, like, I don't give a crap. You know, you come into my house only because I've invited you. And if I feel comfortable enough inviting you, it means you already know who I am as a person. Which means my broom closet's wide open. So, this, I just like the color. And instead of using blood, I went with red wax. But there's a lot of, you know, a lot of people put blood in them. A lot of people use menstrual blood in them. A lot of people will take their blood and their partner's blood. I thought about using hair, but I didn't. It just didn't feel necessary to me. But this is what I wanted to do. And my altar is a freaking wreck. Speaking of which, I reworked my altar. My husband found a killer deal on a bigger space for me today, and I went through, cleansed, got everything back the way it needed to be. It's lower than my original because I like to sit on the floor. So I'll do an altar tour once it's kind of cleaned up, because, well, I'll give you a peek, and then when I clean it up, I'll let you see more. But I'm going to move one of these. I have a working going. I have a constant working. But I will let you take a gander. There she is. There she is. And like I said, it is a freaking mess. There is stuff. I've got stuff everywhere. I spilled a little bit of salt, so now I gotta vacuum. But yeah, anyway, that's it. So I just wanted to go over that, and I will probably do another video tomorrow when I get home from work, depending on how that goes, about the crystals that my beautiful best friend gave me. Because they're beautiful, and they're all, like, I don't have a lot of natural stones. I have a lot of tumbled stones that I've collected over the years. And, well, the two natural ones I had in here I found on walks, and they're just little pieces of quartz, I think. But they're not real pretty, but I like them. But I do have a lot of tumbled stones. But the ones she gave me are raw. And they're beautiful and just powerful. They are potent. And I think you're going to find those extremely pretty. Another thing I put in here was money oil. I don't think I mentioned that, but I put money oil in here as well for prosperity, along with the pyrite. So just, I forgot to write that down, but I'm going to write that down now. But anywho, that is my take on a witch's ball. Or my witch's ball. Let me rephrase. My witch's ball. And I have some stuff coming in the mail. And I might do a haul from today. But we'll see. This is already freaking 15 minutes long. So, sorry about that. Alright guys. Till next time. Bye-bye.